Hello everyone, this is the artist formerly known as the Great Roberto. Real quick, okay, this is a trip report, Psilocybin 2.0 if you want to call it that. Now this is a pretty good report, I think. Yeah, I've been sort of, but real quick before I get into it. Nah, never mind. Fuck it. I'll tell you why not. Shit. For years, I've been like searching for like a one-word name. What to call myself, like by just one word, like not like Bill Stevens or whatever, like a first and a last name like everybody else. I was like sort of hoping for a one-word name, but trying to come up with one is like has been difficult. Because like, what do you do? And like what do you do? And they end up sounding weird or something like freaky, like weird. But I kind of like, believe it or not, for a lot of reasons, Orion. Orion as just a name. I call myself Orion for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons why. I'm not gonna get into it, but I kind of like that. So maybe we'll see what happens. But anyways, back to the trip report. This time was, oh my god, this was actually a pleasant experience through and through. The whole thing was good. Again, I took mushrooms. This time, I took 3.5 grams. I was actually going to take 5. I had 5 weighed up. And I was like, fuck, because of my past experiences with psychedelics, getting my ass kicked, basically in there. DMT is insane, and going through that. And then the first mushroom trip I took, as intense and beautiful as it was, it just kicked the shit out of me. It did. And it did. Bad. So I was scared. I was terrified to take anything. I almost didn't even want to take them at all. I really didn't. Especially because it's like, God, getting your ass kicked up in there is like, it just terrified me. So I was like, fuck it. So I had 5 grams weighed up. But then I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to jump in that far. I just want to, so I cut it back to 3.5 grams. I weighed up 3.5 grams, and I chewed on them. And I fucking ate them like that, raw. I just ate them. 3.5 dried gram. 3.5 dried, it hurts up as my nose. 3.5 dried grams, and I ate them up, and then the experience unfolds as follows. In the beginning, as it was starting to take off, mushrooms are a lot different than DMT, for those of you who've taken DMT. Whether snorted or smoked, DMT is just like a, express to fuck youville, basically, is what it's like. I mean, it doesn't give a shit. You're going along for one hell of a ride, and hold on if you can, basically. But mushrooms are a little bit kinder, or can be a little bit kinder, a little bit more compassionate, and this was like that. This is a good time, and what I learned from this experience, this mushroom trip, it's a dance. It really is dancing. Psychedelics is a dance. It's big, having a martial arts background. It's cosmic martial arts. It literally is, and and the dance begins not when you start tripping. The dance begins with the intention to trip in the first place. The dosage is part of the dance. Set and setting is part of the dance. It's all a dance. It's an interaction. It's because in the beginning of this trip, I could feel the DMT-ness of it. I was like, oh my god, this feels like DMT. Sort of, but very subtle. It was just there, just like this little subtle DMT-ness to it. It's like, oh shit, I was starting to get a little scared, But as it flowed along, it just, I was being mindful of it and moving with it and breathing and dancing. I actually went outside. I went outside in the yard and had a great time out there for a little while, but there was construction going on next door. There's a guy out there, so I didn't want to be fucking, like, in my yard, like, weirding people out and shit, or have the cops called on me, number one, really. So I yeah, plus it was cold, a little bit cool, so I came back inside, and then the trip unfolded as it did, and then as you're tripping along, it's they said, because it's really, I guess, the logos. You know, for those of you familiar with you know, Plato and Aristotle and all the whole Hellenistic Greek, you know, model of things, I guess, the logos, this voice that talks to you, and that's what you do. I mean, you're talking to yourself the whole time, but it's not like I. It's like we. And one of the things they kept saying is like, you know, what they kept saying is, we're not going to kick the shit out of you this time because we don't need to. That's basically what it was, because you're living the lessons better that we're teaching you. Kindness. The theme of this trip was kindness. To be kind. You know, because it kept coming up over and over again, kindness, but it didn't hammer it into me. It didn't beat the fuck out of me with it. And they kept saying that we're not going to beat the fuck out of you because we don't have to, because we don't need to. Because you're getting it, is what it says. You're getting it. You're understanding what the message is. And so we don't need to kick your ass this time. Not too badly, at least. And it didn't. It was a beautiful experience. It was beautiful. It was a fucking, I was just moving my body, breathing, and dancing with it. It was fucking glorious. It was really a wonderful experience of divinity and understanding and beauty and dancing with this beautiful, splendid experience of what psychedelics can be, you know, without it beating the shit out of you. And this is the first time, really, that I've had the experience without getting my ass kicked by it. And I kept saying thank you. You know, it wasn't really. It was a beautiful dosage. It was a beautiful fucking dance with the psychedelics, and that's exactly. It was making love with the psychedelic experience. Really, I say dance because we're trying to keep it, you know, PG here, but you know what I mean. You know, it's a sexual fucking experience. All of it. You know, the dosage. The set and setting, because part of the mistake I made the first time was ignorance, number one, because I didn't know what the fuck I was getting into, and set and setting, where I should never have taken 7 grams of mushrooms in the setting that I did that time. Oh my good God. I mean, I'm lucky I'm not fucking dead, really. But it wasn't disrespectful, it was ignorance. I just didn't know. I mean, I didn't know, so they beat the fuck out of you, you know. You know, but it was also, you know, as you can watch that trip. I don't need to get into it. But this one was going on, and you know, and coming. I want to say this too, because you know, as I was coming out of it. But see, the whole thing was beautiful. It wasn't like coming out of it. It was a dance, and it still is. I can still feel it right now, flowing through me. And one of the things I made up, I wrote down a couple things. You know. I'll say it as I wrote it. Okay, number one, whether in life or martial arts, if you move through the world like an asshole, you're going to pay like an asshole should. Number two, if you're not sexual with your martial arts, you don't understand sex or martial arts. Number three, ferocity for a living. And then I put in parentheses, that's self-explanatory, right? Like that. And then I wrote, I hope you're all confused, thank you. That was actually a post on Facebook. That was a post on Facebook. But, so, I wonder how many people, you know. I said that the way I said it for a reason. Because there's a lot going on in the New Age, I hate to say New Age, but so-called Enlightenment circles, you know, where you gotta be sappy kind. Where you gotta be like this weak, little fucking spineless, frail expression. That's not fucking life. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry for the excessive cursing, but that's not life. That's not life at all. Life is masculine. Life is feminine, and it is a beautiful dance, and that's what this trip was all about. It's about dancing with the divine. That's what it was, and the sexuality of it, and being ferocious, masculine ferocity. That's why I said what I said, because martial arts isn't about hurting people, but the motions are about hurting. I mean, you're breaking, you're fucking maiming, you're breaking, you're maiming, you're causing a mayhem of violence, and you're ripping apart things. You're fucking, yeah, it's like crazy. It can't, I mean, that's the way you train, because that's what it is. So that is like, you know, can be an antithesis to the message if you don't understand it. But training like that is developing the ferocity for life, and the ferocity isn't being a malevolent force, it's being a kind force, it's being a force for good, kindness, joy, love, all these wonderful things. And it's like, but you got to understand the dynamic of the masculine and the feminine as you do it. You know, so this trip was glorious, it was beautiful, it was wonderful. I didn't, and again, they said, as they say, we didn't kick your ass this time because we didn't need to, because you're getting it, you're understanding, you're getting the message. So I hope this is helpful, everybody, and have a good day.